All right. Okay. Okay, come on in, everyone. Come on in. All right. Okay. Okay, come on in, everyone. Come on in. For some reason, there's a delay. I don't know why that is, but okay. All right. For some reason, there's a delay. It must. You know what it is? We have some storms in the area, and it's affecting my stream. So if everybody can hear me, well, you at work, Brother Antoine? Ariel Benya, you at work? You at work, Brother Antoine? Ariel Benya, you at work? Okay. Okay. Let's see. Same as this. Okay, that's the phone audio. I don't know what's going on. All right. All right, everything is output level, volume. Same as speaker. Okay. All right. We get ready to get started. Output level, volume. All right. And speaker. Okay. All right. We get ready to get started. I don't know what's going on. All right. All right, give me a second. Yo, I can hear y'all. All right, give me a second. All right. Yo, I can hear y'all. This computer is a delay in my live. Let's see what's going on here. Yo, I can hear y'all. This computer is a delay in my live. Let's see what's going on here. What's going on? Okay. There's a delay in my life. Let's see what's going on. Okay. There's a delay in my life. What is going on with my standard? All right, I got to start over one more time. This is ridiculous. Wait a minute. Hold on, everybody. What happened to my screen? Standard. All right, I got to start over one more time. This is. Oh, here we go. Hold on, everybody. What happened to my screen? No, that's ridiculous. No, that's not what I want. There you go. There we go. All right. All right. No, not what I want. Okay. There we go. All right. And we're live on, I believe we're live on YouTube. Yeah, we're live on YouTube. And we're live on, I believe we're live on YouTube. All right. Yeah, we're live on YouTube. And we're live on, okay. I believe we're live on YouTube. All right. Yeah, we're live. And we're live. Okay. All right. So today's topic, there's a lot going on with our lives.
Yeah.
Today's topic, we're dealing with a lot right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with my computer, but we praise the Most High a lot right now. And as y'all can see, I got on my gear because tomorrow is Puerto Rican Pride Day. And you know, I got on my gear. Okay, something is not right. Is Puerto Rican Pride Day. Every night.
I don't hear you.
Okay, can y'all hear me now? You can hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Okay, can y'all hear me now? We're gonna get right into the teaching. We're having some type of delay with the internet. I don't know why. It acts up every now and then. We're having some type of delay with the internet. I don't know why. One exception. Every now and then. Okay. Setting security. All right. Okay. All right. It's giving me some type of security warning. I don't know. I did that the other day. Okay. Okay. Here we go. It's giving me some type of security warning. I think it's YouTube is messing up my stream. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Here we go. It's giving me some security warning. All right. I think it's YouTube is messing up my stream. Okay. Okay, here we go. I think it's YouTube is messing up my stream. Let me see. Okay. All right. I think it's YouTube is messing up my stream. Okay. All right. All right, one more time. One more time, everybody can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Everybody, okay, good, good, good. Looks like we corrected the problem prayerfully. We've corrected the problem. My sister out of Arizona just texted me and said to pray for her. She's being attacked with COVID in her body. She has she has allergies, just like it's one of those things in our body. Okay. We just making sure. Okay, we're coming through live on YouTube. Okay. It's like it's one of those things in our body. All right. All right. All right. So we left off teaching in the book of Genesis. I saw a few articles today from some government officials that they're holding what used to be clandestine hearings on the subject of UAPs. They call it unidentified aerial phenomena. But it's actually phenomena that they cannot identify. So what's happening, my people, is the Bible is coming alive, but the people are not being taught properly, or they are not given instruction to handle what is coming upon the earth. I'm attempting to build a proper foundation. Go with me to the book of Luke, if you got a chance. If you don't have to find it, then jot this down. In the Basora of Luke, Luke's account, Dr. Luke, who was a physician. Remember, Luke was a physician. And he gave this account from the mindset of a scientist and an educator. Luke was highly intelligent. What can we say about Luke? He was skilled in medicine. A physician. He had to know something about the human body, the anatomy, and he was an intellectual. Let's just use that. This is a man that was an intellectual, and yet he took it upon the task of writing this treatise, this letter, this account concerning his walk with Yeshua and the things he observed. In some things he went into detail, but he mentioned something. He mentioned something that was very unique. Luke 21:26. Well, let's begin at verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity the sea, and the waves warring. Verse 26. Men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Now, let me just build this foundation. Luke says in verse 25, there shall be signs. Now, we're told in the Greek, the word sign means signature. And you know, when you give your signature, you are endorsing or you are adding credence to these events or to what is taking place. In other words, you are giving permission. Now, why would Elohim give permission to the events that we're about to talk about? And what does this have to do with the Nephilim? This subject has taken me all over the place in terms of trying to explain the UFO Nephilim agenda and the need for biblical application and understanding, how you come up against these things. All right, we'll get back to where we left off, but let me explain what Dr. Luke is saying. He said, and there shall be signs, Yah's signature of his permission. Permission of what? Activity. Remember this, Ha-Shaitan cannot do anything without first getting permission. That's number one. If you're taking notes, you need to remember this. Ha-Shaitan does nothing without him getting permission from Abba Yah. Do you got scripture? In the book of Job, it says in the day that the sons of Yah, the B'nai Ha-Elohim, the angelic host, period, came before Yahweh. It says Satan also came. Satan also came and stood before Yahweh. Yahweh granted him permission. Ha-Shaitan cannot do anything on his own accord. He must get permission, number one. And number two, humans grant him access. Humans grant him access. Well, why would a human being grant him access? Number one, a lot of people don't realize that they're granting Ha-Shaitan access to their life and to their family life. One of the reasons why people have been experiencing UFO abduction, examination, and hardcore attacks from these beings, from these lights, why are you seeing an increase of it? Well, we can really throw something at you that's concrete and legitimate. You can do the research for yourself. Number one, Ha-Shaitan was given access. Number one, we said he can't do nothing unless he has permission from the Father. That's number one. Number two, humans give him access by opening the door through meddling in the occult. Number two, strange religions that involve meditation, yoga, burning sage. There are some people, even some Hebrew Israelites, don't even realize that you've opened the door to witchcraft, and some of them will fight me head to toe. They burn sage. Now, sage is a herb that has medicinal effects, but when you talk about dealing with evil spirits, sage is not to be used. Nothing should replace the blood and authority of Yahushua's name and his death, burial, and resurrection. Anything else, you're fooling yourself. You're only doing more damage. You can't fight a witch by going to another witch. You can't fight witchcraft with witchcraft. You cannot fight Satanism by practicing Satanism. Okay, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. Black magic, you don't defeat black magic with white magic. Straight up Satanism with this new age nature, Wiccan. That's it. Wiccan. They say that's good magic. Wiccan. They say they practice witchcraft through through nature. No, there's no such thing as a good witch and a bad witch. A witch is a witch. They're both satanic. Okay, so you don't practice magic to come against Satan, because it's all Satanism. All right, you must use the authority that Yahweh has given you with the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Now, if you're not born again, but you are walking around rejecting Yeshua and his salvation, you are a candidate for occult activities such as UFO abductions. Okay? Let me make that plainly. See, a lot of so-called prophets, apostles, and pastors don't want to teach this because it's a controversial subject. It's a controversial subject. It's people don't want to. It's like they want to stick their hand over their ears and stick their head in the sand. They don't want to talk about it. But yet we have an increase of satanic activity. We're seeing a whole young generation that's possessed with the spirit of murder, and they're just killing, bloodthirsty. And you can try to say, well, that's because they ain't got no direction. They ain't got no father. Some of them have fathers in their homes and still wind up becoming murderers. Because murder, number one, is a spirit. It's a mindset. And you are watching videos, rap songs, you listen to songs that promote death. Okay? These songs, these videos, they're opening the door. They are opening the door. In 2007, the elite went over to CERN, Switzerland, and they dug through tunnel, and they punched through a dimension. They opened a portal. They call it the God particle, where they saw that there was a barrier, and they was able to gather what they call antimatter, which is satanic. And they physically got this antimatter, and they realized as they open up the portals of CERN, Switzerland, that entity, in their own words, matter of fact, the physicist, who was an atheist, but yet he became a believer in the supernatural because Hawkins, the Dr. Hawkins, he said, Claude, don't open up CERN because you're opening the gates of hell. Atheists realized that they were opening a dimension to hell. And that's what has happened. Anyone comes in contact with antimatter they become demonic. So you got the elites playing around with supernatural things. Okay. Jack Parsons, JL Laboratories, Jet Proportion, Jack Parsons, in the 40s, in the 50s, he did a satanic ritual called the Whore of Babylon. He did a ritual, and the elites of the United States endorsed Jack Parsons. He opened up a door, some of them say to a parallel universe. No, he opened up a portal to the dimension of the dark side. And then they said that dark entities, demonic entities started manifesting. They said people started seeing winged creatures, and people started having delusions and all sorts of supernatural events. In so much that they were calling the sheriff's department. I mean, history is filled with documented proof of things happening. After Jack Parsons did his Whore of Babylon, then you begin to see an increase of so-called UFO activity. There was mentioning in the newspaper many years ago of an event where these alleged spacecraft appeared over the sky of Los Angeles, and the military began to fire at it. It was called the Battle of Los Angeles. But as the military shot at these spacecraft, it was impenetrable, because what they didn't realize, they were dealing with entities or beings that's not subject to the laws of physics here. But somehow a spacecraft crashed because allegedly an electrical storm or some signal that our government figured out, some frequency that they figured out to bring this thing out, the famous Roswell, New Mexico crash. And there are stories that is strange, but they're real. And today, right now, the government is discussing this. See, they did it before. It was called Operation Blue Book. And they closed it out. And the purpose of Blue Book was to denounce the UFO sightings. But secretly, the government, those in the government knew that these things were so. Project Blue Book, it's called, not Operation, it's called Project Blue Book. I can't think of the doctor's name, but there was a report that one of these craft landed, and our president, Dwight Eisenhower, met with one of the leaders. This Nephilim craft landed, and Dwight Eisenhower went out and made a treaty. Said, you give us technology, in exchange you can adopt some of the citizens of the United States. So you got the president of the United States entering into an unholy covenant. The entities or these aliens, they did not really need a president's word. the United States citizens has already granted permission when you reject the rulership of Yahweh, you reject his word, you allow laws to be passed such as abortions, um, the blood of the innocent being shed, such as the babies. Their blood opens portals and doorways to the dimension of the demonic. Oh, let me just go on and say this. There are no green men from Mars or Jupiter or planets. No, they are the spirits of Nephilims. They are devils. They are demons. Okay, and I'm talking about the great, people that said they were abducted in a spaceship and taken by the gray alien, which the big black eyes, big bulb head, a little nose, little mouth slit for mouth. They're called the gray aliens. And then there's another class of aliens called the Nordics, where they are tall, pale skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. They're Nordics. And they are the ones that live beneath the ice in Antarctica. That's another subject. We're talking about the Nordics. The Nordics are the ones that also call themselves the Aryans, the Aryan race. Okay. Then you have the reptilian. They can appear as humanoid, but the rest of them like a snake, like a serpent. And they tend to dwell in the ground. There's a famous story of a man named Phil Schneider, who was working on a black op mission with the government of the United States. His job as an engineer was to build DUMBs. And DUMBs stands for Deep Underground Military Bases. Beloved, we have deep underground military bases throughout the United States, but mainly out in New Mexico and Nevada area. Everybody knows about Area 51. They have deep underground military bases. They're like city-like structures out there that's unknown to a lot of people. People just don't pay attention. But they build these structures underground, and they're deep within the earth. Well, Phil Schneider was one of the engineers that was tasked with help constructing these underground bases. And so they was drilling deep holes in the earth to begin the construction of an underground military base in Dulce, New Mexico. And they kept running into problems. And as they were hitting snags and the drill bits were coming up broken, they couldn't understand what was going on. They said, but when they would hit a pocket, they said the smell of garbage, rot, something dead, was just coming up out of the earth. So Phil Schneider said in his testimony that he was lowered down to one of these deep underground that was already dug out, along with a green beret and a black beret and a CIA agent. Phil Schneider said he had a Walter PP-32 pistol, and say went down to inspect why the drill keep breaking, and it came to an open cavern. This is underground, and he said a 7-foot gray. Now he called it a gray, but it sounded like a reptilian. It came across a reptilian, and he said he immediately opened fire and shot one of them. But one of them, Phil Snyder said he did like this, and a blue ray beam came out and opened him up and melted some of his fingers off. And he showed the scars, and you could see some of his fingers was actually burned off. as he gave his testimony. The United States government wanted him to be quiet about this. He wouldn't do it. And subsequently, they murdered him. Anybody that talks and exposes the alien agenda that worked for the United States government wind up dead. There's another, she was a researcher, Dr. Kath, let me see, famous researcher for this subject. Let me look her up. Dr. Catherine. Let me see. She wrote several. She wrote several books. Dr. Catherine, wait a minute. Okay, give me a second. We're gonna look that up. This is heavy, y'all. They're trying their best, I noticed. They're trying their best to wash the internet. Of these authors. And but we'll find a name, but we're going to continue. We're going to continue. Okay. But Project Bluebird, there are many books that was written. The one that's real famous, the Travis Walton story. That's when they made the movie Fire from the Sky. It was about Travis Walton and his testimony of how he was abducted. Nevertheless, we're dealing with these things that are happening. And let me tell y'all, another person you can research, Bob Lazar, his testimony that deals with him working on UFO craft at Area 51, back engineering. A lot of our people are trying to come out with their testimonies. And the most famous one of alien abduction was Betty and Barney Hill abduction. This, you can YouTube this. And then there's the movie, it was a wicked movie, The Fourth Kind. And unfortunately, it was based off of an event that happened in Nome, Alaska, The Fourth Kind. And Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. It's one of those movies that I don't recommend that you see, because again, you can open up the doors to things that's not cool. There's some people who said In fact, Bible scholar, noted author, and researcher, L.A. Marzulli, and some more, Tim Alberino, a brother, and he's a Hebrew Israelite, Dante Forson. These brothers, Tito Ministries, I promise you, look them up. They have information based on the things that I'm sharing with you, and it corroborates tonight's teaching. Back to the book of Luke, there shall be signs, verse 25, there shall be signs in the sun. Signs, and the word signs, again, is the word signature. Signature. So, Yahuwah allowing Hashatan activity, and number two, people giving Hashatan's access. There was a video footage leaked from NASA and for some other government agencies, which shows this entity's spacecraft going up to the sun. They took it from the Hubble telescope, going up to the sun, extracting energy from the sun, and then taking off. People, the United States government is also involved in disinformation. They will put false information out to distract you. But I've viewed, and of course these footages are not online, they scrubbed them. But I was blessed to be able to see these footages that was made available at the time of when astronauts was on the surface of the moon, and you saw a craft off in the distance that shouldn't have been there, watching them. The first man to walk on, Neil Armstrong, gave his best friend gave a testimony to a researcher, Linda Moulton Howe. That's another one you look up. Linda Moulton Howe. She does a fantastic job on exposing the alien bases that are at Antarctica, from the testimony of a Navy SEAL off record. Talks about these photographs that NASA tried to get rid of these images of a military-like base on the moon that was not made by human hands, no other government. In fact, the reason why America never returned to the moon, some ignorant person would say, well, that was fake. That was fake. The moon landing was fake. America, I need you to understand, you believe that because America wants you to believe that. But mankind has gone to the moon, and they have seen things that they weren't supposed to see and was warned off. Why? Because there are Nephilim bases. Let's put it to you that way. See, what people call gray aliens, or no, they're Nephilims. It is the return of Nephilims. And time will not permit me to go deep into the Nephilim agenda. We will have to go, I will have to give you facts by facts, and I just don't have the time today, but we'll come back and do this because it's an important teaching that you need to understand. What was it about the Nephilim in the past that the scripture says that there will be signs in the sun and the moon. Activity, what this means, is activity that Yahweh allows. And then the stars. In the stars. Okay. Let's throw this at you. Let me give you some facts and ask yourself the question, why? I have a cousin, Apostle Shanavia Duncan Kelly. Her and her husband and family live out in Arizona. They can testify to what I am sharing. In fact, it's online. Timothy Albano reported, L.A. Marzulli, and others. They talk about Mount Graham. Mount Graham is a site that the natives feared. They call it the gateway of the gods, a portal. They said the giant star people. That's what they refer to them as, the star people that come from the stars, the giants. They would ascend and descend upon Mount Graham. The natives fought the government of the United States and the Vatican from taking Mount Graham, that site, because they revered it as a very spiritual place. But the government of America, as well as the Vatican, now the Vatican, they got astronomers. They built a telescope on Mount Graham. The Vatican have a more powerful telescope than NASA or NASA. They have a telescope that looks deep into space with a lens they call Lucifer 6. Just look it up. I find this to be credible because the papacy, the Roman papacy, which we understood and understand, deals in the dark arts, is deeply rooted in paganism and black magic. That's right, I said that. I say it. And that's Christianity for you. But we'll talk about that another time. Why is if the Vatican represents the true church of Yeshua, we're talking about the scriptures prophesying about the Vatican. It calls the Vatican the little horn that sits and rules the kingdoms of the earth, a little horn. And the scriptures, I believe it's in Daniel, talks about this little horn changing the time, seasons, and customs. So this little horn erased from the original plan of Yah, the biblical feasts, and replaced them with Easter, Christmas, Valentine's Day, and other pagan holidays. This little horn lied and told people that the Messiah's name is Jesus and not Yeshua. The Messiah, the Messiah, when he lived here on earth, born of a virgin, he was a Hebrew. He was a black Hebrew Israelite. All right. Yeshua observed Shabbat. He observed the feast. According to the original scripts, he was crucified on a Wednesday. Because that Wednesday, biblically speaking, was the Passover. 3 nights, 3 days and 3 nights, he stayed in the grave. And you count from Wednesday, you get Saturday, 3 days and 3 nights. Early Shabbat day, Yeshua got up out of the grave. But the little horn have people to think he died on a Friday and got up on a Sunday. And this is why we have church on Sunday. Sunday replaces the Shabbat. Christmas replaces Tabernacles, Feast of Tabernacles, First Fruit. Forget all that. So we have this confusion, and no matter what you so-called Christians, listen, I was once a Christian, all right? When I got saved and born again, it was from the heart that I believed that Yeshua got up from the grave, even though I called him Jesus because I was taught that. Somebody said, well, then you ain't saved then because you called on the wrong name. Listen, Yahweh has no language barrier. Understand that. You can't tell my life wasn't changed because I used to be a drunk, a drug addict, a whoremonger, a gangster. I was a thug. And when I realized I was about to die, and I had several visitations from the Most High himself saying, if you don't change your life, at the age of 17, I had to either receive Yeshua or I'd have been dead and then burning in hell. So I know my testimony. I know where I come from. He took the smoking from because I didn't want it no more. He took the snorting cocaine and crack and crank. See, before crack, it was called crank. Okay? He took that from me. The sniffing and the taking of black beauties and barbiturates and V's. Okay? He took that from me. He delivered. So he's a deliverer. He's a life changer. So you can't tell me about Yeshua. I know him for myself. It's just I was taught a false name, but it wasn't about the name to the person of who he was and is and still is. He sits at the right hand of the Father. When he brought me into the Hebraic, he started dealing with me in 1984, but I fought it. My Christian theology fought the truth. It didn't affect my salvation, but it did affect my growth. Because I was wondering, you're saved by faith and the law is done away with. My theology was wrong. Like a lot of you going to come to this conclusion. Show me where Yeshua said the law is done away with. When you deal with the law and Rabbi Shaul, Apostle Paul, when he talks about for the law is done, the law is over. He's not talking about the law of Yah. He's talking about the law of sin and death having reign in this mortal body. That's what he's talking about. I have to bring this to a close. Perhaps we'll come back tomorrow. Most likely we'll come back tomorrow and get into this. I may even come back tonight. I was thinking about doing a session tonight, calling it Midnight Oil, 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. I'm thinking about doing that. But not so much as a teaching, but a prophetic flow. Because many of y'all are not used to seeing me flowing prophetically. But I'm being led to do that. You will get the announcements via text if I decide to do the midnight oil tonight. all of this demonic activity, number one, Hashatan had to get permission. And number two, man opened the door through his rebellion, through religion, through witchcraft, and other things. And so there's a lot to unpack from that statement in this verse right here. And there shall be sign, signature, which deals with permission, in the sun and in the moon, and then the stars. There's other areas of the universe that satanic activity is happening, and warfare. Perplexity, the sea, where brother Arya Binya was talking about tsunamis and the waves warring. You know, Japan is an area that always seems like they're having seismic events. For men's heart failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. Look at the account of Travis Walton and others who have been abducted. We are called as Israelites to come against these powers, not only resisting them, but casting them down. All right. Ephesians, the 6th chapter, it puts this into a more perspective. Ephesians 6:10 says, finally, my brethren, be strong in Yahuwah and the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Elohim, then you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Put on the armor of Elohim. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Now, who are the heads of principalities? Fallen angels. Let me say this one more time. The head of principalities are fallen angels, regional angels. And under them, they have the control and the authority to operate over regions using demons. Demons are not fallen angels. I told y'all who the angels were. The B'nai Ha Elohim, the watcher angels. The fallen angels, 1/3, as well as the 200 watchers. Book of Enoch teaches you about that. Ha-Shaitan was in charge, Hiliel, in charge of the ministry of music, as well as he was an archangel. He covered and guarded the throne. Okay? Under the fallen angels is the departed spirit of the Nephilims, which we call devils. Those are the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. And we'll talk more in terms of the Nephilim. And we told y'all that they were, according to the scripture, they were half human, half angel. Yah sent the flood, destroyed the body, but now they become the devils, seeking to possess human beings. I shared with y'all on one broadcast the account, if y'all remember the movie The Exorcist that was made in the 70s with the actress Linda Blair. I believe her name was. That was a hellish movie, but it was based off a true story. Beloved, don't get stupid. You can't tap into Ouija board, reading a Ouija boards and astrology and Dungeons and Dragons and those things. These are door openings. We've been talking about opening the door. Don't open the door for the devil, because he will come. He will bring his cousins with him. So we'll get back to this and continue this teaching. We have to bid y'all shalom now. And we encourage you to come back tonight, Yah willing, and pray with us and invite your friends and family. And I'm going to share some with y'all. Be careful who y'all bring. Because if they're not right and they want to come and be newsy, I'm telling you, because when I get into the prophetic flow, I'm very, through the Ruach, conscious who I need to minister to and who I don't minister to. And I do understand and know some witches and warlocks try to peep in the spirit and try to block people's breakthroughs and deliverances. But we bind them right now in Yeshua's name. All right, we're going to end this now and bid you shalom, shalom,